into this last question and talk about one more thing you got to do, and that was induct your father into the WWE Hall of Fame. Had to be a tremendous honor for both of you.
Oh, dude, I literally was sitting at home and the phone rings and it was John Laurinaitis. And he said, "Hey," and WrestleMania was coming to Atlanta. And that's where my dad's career started and flourished. Brad really became a star there too, because he got on that TV when it went, uh, you know, cable huge. And so, um, John Laurinaitis called me and said, "Hey, I'm about to call your dad and put him in the Hall of Fame." And I went, "Oh, I mean, man, look, in my dad's Hall of Fame speech, he said, 'I just want to say thank you for letting this old war horse do his thing.'" And I thought, man, anybody that's ever seen that movie, War Horse, that's what you do. Just work hard as you can, and then they just put you, then you're just done. And you
Yeah,
just go,
yeah, everyone gets put out to pasture.
right,
That's the
right.
truth.
And when you think about that, his career spanned what, 50 plus years, and you think about how how could you do what we do or have done with your body and still be able to walk upright? And I mean, people can't imagine that. They go, "Oh yeah, that's all this and that's all." Well, whatever. I mean,
Yeah,
you say
tell my
what you want
knees and my
to, and
lower
I'll
back that.
I'll say, "Hey, you're welcome to your opinion." But I'll never forget, in my early 20s, having I broke some. I was at the doctor, and the doctor looked at me, and he knew who I was. He knew our family, and he said, "I just have to tell you, the human body is not supposed to do what you and your family do. You know that, right?" And, I'm in my 20s. Hey, dude, shut up and give
Yeah,
me
shut up
pills,
and give me some pills.
right. And so it was very, but I never forgot that moment either, because he's right. How can you tell somebody, "Oh yeah, I drove 5 hours and then, wrestled 15 minutes and I took
Yeah, then
eight
I ran
big
as fast as I
lumps."
could and got knocked down, and then I stood up and
Right.
hit another man, and then that man hit me back, and,
And I
like,
picked him up and put
that's
him
not
down,
that's not
and then
what
I got
you
back in the
do.
car, those
Yeah,
5 hours
drove for
again.
5 more hours. Yeah,
Right.
that's not what people at AT&T do, you know what I
No,
mean? So,
no.
fake as you wanna be, but you're still falling and getting hurt, you know?
And so to be able to stand on that stage and look out at that crowd and see him standing there, and I'm there with my brothers, and and hear him do his speech and think, man, hey, for my mom too, they should have given her a ring,
Yeah.
because she raised, five wrestlers, basically, four sons and him.
Yeah, she
And
had 5 boys.
and the one thing about, Ryan, and I'm sure the listeners know, or viewers too, uh, wrestling has been my mistress. You know what I mean? And my wife has allowed me to have that mistress, because look, we've had ups and downs financially, in the wrestling business, and you do the indies. Back in the day, I did the indies, and you drive and then get duped on your money, I mean, look, it's just part of the business. It just is. And so, um, the the love of the game. At the end of it, that's what it is. It's the love of the game. And to see him stand up there and get that was like, that's an amazing, and to do it with family and our mom in the audience and let her be a part of that moment. Man, I'll never forget it. As a matter of fact, I have a shelf in my living room, uh, that has his Hall of Fame plaque, and his Hall of Fame ring is in a thing, engraved box that my son just said, "Hey, I got granddad something." And "What is it?" And he showed me, and I went, "Oh, dude, he's gonna love." And then Brian, and you
Yeah,
got
then
one.
I said, "Hey, where'd you get that at?" And I ended up getting one that says Road Dogg that holds my
Yep,
Hall of Fame ring.
yep,
So for me, look, I've said this before and I'll say it again. That was the most real moment for me that I ever had in the wrestling industry. Like I had a lot of really cool things go down and be a part of and all that, but like that was the time where a bunch of people said, "Hey, who could we say was really good at this stuff? And who is, would pop a crowd in Atlanta and who would whatever. And somebody came up with Bob Armstrong, and that's real. You can't, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
His career stands for itself, and that was somebody really decided to do that. Me and Scotty and Brad, and I wish Stevie would have been there too. But we got to announce him into the Hall of Fame, man. It was the coolest moment to
Yeah.
me in wrestling ever. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Bullet.
Yeah, it was cool to see him get acknowledged for what his life of work.
Yeah, for all his sacrifice, for
Yeah.
our sacrifice of,
Right.
and now for our children and grandchildren's sacrifice because we're gone all the time. You know what I mean? So
Yeah.
it's, oh,
Bullet Bob,
who,
Brad, Scott, Steve, Brian, do you think we'll see the Armstrong family inducted as a family at some point based on your contributions to the history of this business?
I'd like to step on that because I've said it before, and I want to kind of clarify. Look, I don't think we ever will because I don't think the wrestling, not the fans. I don't mean the fans. I mean the wrestling powers that be doesn't look at our family like that. I really believe that with all my heart. And I just think they overlook us. I don't think we get the credit we get. And again, that's not from the fans. The fans in the Southeast will fight you over some Bob Armstrong stuff. I just feel like, look, I don't feel like me and Billy will get it either. I feel like it's definitely on our own. It's definitely some politics go involved in it, and I just don't know that our family's going to get brought up in that conversation. I think we should. I just don't think we will, and I wanted to clarify that I didn't say that the fans don't appreciate us. I just feel like the powers that be in the world of wrestling today may not.
Hey, screw Brian, I want a ring.
I'd like another one as well. I'm just saying, I just don't know, that's
Yeah,
all.
no,
I don't know if
I
you feel differently.
I totally no, I totally get what you're saying for sure. I still want the ring.
You can wear mine.
Scott, this has been a ton of fun, informative, entertaining. Just listening to you talk about it and seeing your energy and seeing your passion and your smile talking about these things. It's just infectious and fun to be a part of, man.
I appreciate it, Ryan. It's good to see you again, man. I'm sorry we parted ways the way it all, but hey, yeah, I didn't feel so bad since there was 15 of us at the
Yeah,
same
yeah, and that's what I said earlier, is like, I'm not retired, I'm unemployed.
right.
Dog, and there
Yes.
we have another week, and I gotta say, this one was pretty good, man.
It was really fun. I don't know how long we've been, but it feels like we it feels like we just started, to tell you the truth, but look, I appreciate you coming on, Scotty. Um, I love you. I always have, and I always will. I look up to you. I respect you because you always had a business acumen about you, like I feel like Jeff has, and Hunter always kind of had. I didn't have that. I was just party and have fun and blah blah blah. And so I'm coming late to the game, but thanks for coming on and talking about your career, and it just gives me a different perspective too. Because I don't think we sit down and talk about stinking wrestling when we see each other. You know what I mean?
Right.
I mean, we
No.
might have a conversation, a paragraph about it, but it's not like. It was very interesting to hear your take on a lot of that stuff. So I appreciate you coming on.
Oh man, thanks. I appreciate you having me, dude. It was definitely fun to talk about all the old times. Hey, tell them about the time I bought you a car.
Yeah, that's a true story. That's a true story. He bought my first car for me. I wasn't even 16 yet. I was 15,
Wow.
and it was an orange Ford EXP.
I couldn't
And
even remember what
yeah,
it
it
was.
was an orange Ford EXP, and I think it was a '86, but it was a hatchback. It was like only not a hatchback. It was I forget what they call it, but it was just a two-seater, and the back it was awesome.
Brad had just bought Steve a car when Steve turned 16, and I couldn't be one upped. So when Brian,
He
Brian
bought
at
me
15,
for our first car. I appreciated it too.
all right, I love you, dude.
Yeah, I love
Ryan,
you too,
great to
Scotty.
see you, man.
Great to
Thank